what pleasure it is to welcome you to the 2021 EULAR Congress. How I wish we were meeting in person. Well, we're not. We're in the virtual space, but we're going to have a real enjoyable time with the Festival of Rheumatology we have ahead of us. Well, in alliance, we've prevailed. COVID brought us together, and in partnership, we prevailed, and so too did the EULAR family. Despite the pandemic, we've achieved so much in the last year. EULAR seized the opportunity to change its name to the European Alliance of Associations for Rheumatology with the update of its statutes. Our new name is self-explanatory. It gives an immediate understanding of our organisation and underlines the importance of working closely together with our national member societies. Our new statutes encourage participation of volunteers across Europe, underscoring the importance of combating the rheumatic diseases, not only by medical means, but also through the wider context of care for patients with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases, and via a thorough understanding of their social and other needs with the support of our members. With dedication, perseverance, and tenacity, EULAR has displayed its strength through these very trying times, and it's thanks to all of you that we come together today virtually as we continue to evolve, to improve and progress in our quest to improve the lives of people with these terrible diseases. Across many fronts, we've prevailed. Let me highlight just a few. We've launched our EULAR Research Centre, and we see it growing already in strength, supporting high quality research across Europe and shortly further afield, particularly with our friends in AFLAR. The EULAR School continues to offer world-class teaching, building new knowledge and capacity across the globe in the area of rheumatic musculoskeletal diseases. More of this coming shortly. And our advocacy team is penetrating the highest political offices right across Europe, placing the needs of our patients at the fore in the generation of national and international policy. Amidst COVID, our work has continued and with outstanding impact. And turning directly to COVID, well, EULAR has delivered recommendations, advice and guidance in management of RMDs, COVID itself, and now in terms of the safe and effective rollout of vaccines. This was an international effort, and to our friends around the world with whom we have joined in partnership to respond to COVID, my most sincere thanks. As Charles Dickens, the great English author, almost said, it was the worst of times and the best of times. Our adaptation to the pandemic has paved our way to a new era for technology and digital evolution in healthcare and in modern medicine. We've adapted as individuals. We have prevailed, however, as an alliance. And the strides in innovation that we have made this year are a very clear testament to that. Well, as we reflect on these challenging times, it is also important to reflect on the extraordinary examples of dedication, perseverance, and tenacity that we have before us, as we remember how resilient we all are. And it's in this respect that it's a very real pleasure for me to introduce to you our keynote speaker. Selected by the World Economic Forum as a young global leader and serving in Global Futures Council in Human Enhancement, awarded honorary doctorates from the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland and from Queen's University in Belfast, and founder of the global running series called Run in the Dark, and the first blind man to race to the South Pole, truly extraordinary. And drawing on his experience of bringing people together to cure paralysis in our lifetime, his message on resilience and collaboration focuses on how to galvanize a disparate group of people around a common goal. It's not easy, but when we find a way to do it, then it is when major breakthroughs happen. Mark Pollock.
When I was young, I wanted to compete. When I went blind, I wanted to go further. When I broke my back, I just wanted to walk again. and I will. Back in the summer of 2010, I fell from a second-story window onto the concrete below, and I'm not quite sure what happened that night, but I suspect I got up to go to the bathroom. And as a blind person, I used to run my hand along the wall to find my way. That night, my hand found an open space where the closed window should have been, and I cartwheeled out. My friends who found me thought I was dead. The doctors in intensive care suspected I was going to die. And when I realized what had happened, I wondered whether dying might have been the best outcome. I'd fractured my skull, I had 3 bleeds on my brain, massive internal injuries, and a spine damaged in 2 places, leaving me with no feeling or movement from my waist down. All of that added to the blindness that had happened 12 years earlier. I'm sure you can appreciate I didn't choose any of it. The accident, the injuries, the consequences, none of it was my choice. But by way of making sense of it, I've come to acknowledge that sometimes we have the luxury of choosing our challenges, and sometimes challenges choose us. What we decide to do about it, that's what counts. And I want to focus on one decision theme, whether we decide to be soloists or collaborators, something I know that's not lost on you within your alliance. I went blind at the age of 22, and I spent the next 10 years rebuilding my identity as a competitor, eventually racing over 43 days to the South Pole. And just at that point where I'd put the demons of blindness behind me, where I felt unstoppable, it was at that point that I fell from the window and landed on the concrete below. And I found myself in hospital, discovering that spinal cord injury strikes at the very heart of what it means to be human. It turned me from my upright running, jumping, cross-country skiing form into a seated compromise of myself. And it's not just the lack of feeling and movement. Paralysis also interferes with the body's internal systems that are designed to keep us alive. Nerve pain, spasms, pressure sores, time in hospital, shortened lifespans, all these things are common. With the right supports, they're manageable. What I found strange was that up to this point in history, it's proven to be impossible to find any kind of a cure. Yet history is filled with accounts of the impossible made possible through human endeavor. The kind of human endeavor that took those explorers to the South Pole at the start of the last century, the kind of human endeavor that will take a new wave of adventurers to Mars in the early part of this century. And inspired by those stories of exploration and many more, I started asking myself, well, why can't that same human endeavor cure paralysis in our lifetime? And based on some of the people that we met, we built relationships and that we now work with, I believe that it can. In particular, we started working with a group of robotics engineers in San Francisco at a company called Exobionics, building exoskeletons. We started working with a group of visionary scientists at UCLA, using electrical stimulation to excite the nervous system and promote voluntary movement. And to show you what that was like, rather than tell you, I got this short video. I don't want to be stuck in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. The goal is to try and walk. If I lay in bed or just sat in my wheelchair, I'd be giving up completely. I know that the fitter and stronger I can get, the more chance there is that I will be successful to trial a set of robotic legs. It's good to be back.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Way.
Whoa.
So what do you think?
Yeah, really.
How's walking?
Great, yeah.
Stepping out?
We need a bigger room. The mission now is to connect physical exercise guys, the technology and robotics people, and the scientists
How you doing?
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Go, 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 go. Good, good.
Oh, yeah. Go on, Mark. Go on. Go. Wow.
Fantastic. Okay.
Well done.
Good.
It's really exciting. It's ridiculous. It is it, really.
The exciting thing is we found no shortage of world-class competitors, but we found too much evidence of people operating in silos. Too many soloists, not enough collaboration. The exoskeleton specialists knew about the scientists and the scientists knew about the exoskeleton specialists, but as so often happens when people are doing groundbreaking work, they were so focused on their own research that they didn't have the inclination, perhaps the resources, perhaps the time to look sideways. And making those connections seemed to be where we could contribute as generalists. So back in 2014, we created our first major collaboration with those two technologies. I moved to UCLA with my robotic legs, my paralyzed legs, and my fiance. And for 3 months, the scientists put electrodes onto the skin of my lower back to push electricity into the damaged nervous system while I stood in my robot. For the first time since I was paralyzed, I could feel my legs beneath me. Not like I used to, but with the stimulator turned on, they felt substantial. I could feel the meat of the muscles around the bones in my legs. And because of the stimulator, as I walked, I could voluntarily move my legs. As I did more, the robot did less. And Simon, my fiance, described it like the moment when Iron Man plugs the mini arc reactor into his chest and he and the device become something else entirely. Now, we're not quite there yet. But as I reflect on this question of whether we should be soloists or collaborators, and I think back to those exploration stories from the heroic age of exploration, it strikes me that despite the personalities involved, the Shackletons, Scotts and Amundsen, it was never an individual hero story. It was always a story of collaboration at that time. And as I reflect on the work that we're doing to cure paralysis, it's very clear that no individual scientist, technologist, philanthropist, investor, or government is going to cure this problem on their own. It's going to be about collaboration. So that's why we are focused on building an interdisciplinary knowledge network of leadership experts, negotiation professionals, behavioral scientists, performance psychologists, in an effort to bring people together to cure paralysis. But let me get you to close your eyes as I finish. At the beginning, I said that sometimes we have the luxury of choosing our challenges, and sometimes challenges choose us. What we decide to do about it is what counts. And we can decide to be soloists, or we can decide to be collaborators. I just happen to think that the really big breakthroughs happen is when we decide to be collaborators. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That was breathtaking. What an extraordinary story. You've inspired us. In truth, I'm a little tearful. You've told us to build resilience. More importantly, you've told us to work together, to collaborate with those with whom we must work to achieve more than we ever thought was possible. It's an attitude that should inspire us to keep doing what we're doing in the whole field of rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases, to work together, and of course to do that for a better and brighter future for people with those very diseases. You have really reminded us that in Alliance we are resilient and we are ultimately successful. Thank you so much. Well, let us turn now to the 2021 scientific program highlights, and no better person to take us through this extraordinarily exciting program than Professor Loreto Carmona, who is the EULAR 2021 Scientific Program Chair. Of course, she's very well known to you as one of the global leaders in clinical and epidemiologic research as it pertains to rheumatology. And it's a real pleasure, Loreto, to, first of all, thank you for all the amazing work you've done on behalf of EULAR in bringing this program together, but also to thank you now for taking us through the highlights of the 2021 program.
Thank you, Iain, and thank you everybody for choosing me to orchestrate all this beautiful program. Of course, this is a collaboration. I am very thankful to each one of the members of the scientific committee because they have done their best to bring you the program. I want to highlight a few things. I think you will be delighted to see all the different flavors of the Congress. We have 3 debates which I want to highlight. One debate will be about the patient input in the target. Another will be about remote rheumatology. Of course, there are people who is in favor and people who is against. And then we have a third debate on publication ethics, which has been an issue during this pandemic. Then we will have some innovation sessions. We have one on fake news. We will be able to know who is deceiving us or whether they are deceiving us or not. We have another one on how medicines are developed with people from the EMA, and also one on work, which is a strategic goal of EULAR. Of course, you will have all the usual ones, diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, spondyloarthritis, with a twist, perhaps, like new techniques for research, and also some diseases that are not that well known, like DADA2 or Lyme disease. Here in Europe, is not that common. Finally, I want to highlight that there are lots of workshops for practical skills. So be as quick as possible and sign up for your favorite workshop. Remember, in each session of this Congress, you will have something specifically for you. Please enjoy it.
Well, thank you, Loreto, for laying out such an enticing menu and in such an eloquent way. Thank you so much for all the work you've done. We really are looking forward to the next few days. Well, let me turn now to the EULAR 2021 Abstract Awards. And to tell you about these, it's a real pleasure to introduce Professor Hendrik Schulze-Koops, both a dear friend and this year the EULAR 2021 Abstract Chair. And he's going to tell you about the awards that we are making this year. Hendrik, over to you.
Thank you, Iain. It's a great pleasure to be part of this all-virtual EULAR 2021 conference. As the Abstract Chair, I can say that EULAR has not suffered and rheumatology science has not suffered from the pandemic. It's a wonderful experience to have seen so many contributions of different people all over the world that work hard on rheumatology research and contribute to the success of the EULAR meeting. We have had more than 3,000 abstracts being submitted to the EULAR meeting, which we have then divided into different categories. And all these abstracts were scored by more than 100 reviewers, to whom I'm very thankful at this point. Based on their evaluations, we have made then the decision to have different abstract categories, which are poster presentations, some poster tours. We have some orally presented abstracts selected. And then finally, we have the pleasure to announce those abstracts that were felt to be the most important and most interesting abstracts for the meeting. This is what I'm here now for, to announce the award winners of the 2021 EULAR Abstract Competition. We have 6 abstract award winners from the category Basic Science. These are Felice Rivellese from the United Kingdom, George Robinson from the United Kingdom, Cherry Lopez Pedrera from Spain, Stacy Dillon from the United States, Valeria Rios Rodriguez from Germany, and Léa Desbrues from France. Congratulations to your terrific work in basic science. The next 6 awardees are from the category Clinical Science, and they are Jeffrey Sparks from the United States, Antti Palomäki from Finland, Maja Skov-Kraksnes from Denmark, Jan Nguyen from France, Diego Jesus from Portugal, and Giovanni Adami from Italy. A warm congratulations to all of you for your wonderful work in clinical science. The next category is the future in rheumatology. This is the category for the undergraduates and their abstracts that were presented and felt to be the most important abstracts of this category. The award winners are Wanting Chi from China, Florian Lucason from France, and Eric Kemper from the Netherlands. Congratulations to all of you. Keep up your wonderful work. The next category is HPR, and the award winners are Gunhild Berdal from Norway, Gemma McCready from the United Kingdom, and Kent Louis Joseph from Norway. Also, congratulations to all of you. The award winner for PARE is Serena Mingolia from Italy. Congratulations. And for the final category, FOREUM, the 2 award winners are Karin Hellegren from Sweden and Anne-Sophie Thorup from the United Kingdom. Congratulations to all of you. I'm sure you will see during the meeting that we have wonderful abstracts, and all of which that are presented could have been awarded for the abstract categories. This is wonderful science that EULAR has collected and that we are able to see during the next 3 or 4 days. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Hendrik. And of course, an opportunity for me to add my heartiest congratulations to all of the recipients of these awards. And now it's with great pleasure that I welcome Professor Annamaria Iagnocco from the University of Torino and EULAR President-elect to share remarks on the future of EULAR, some thoughts around gender equality, an issue we've been thinking very carefully about in the last year or so, and cutting-edge education, and of course the new EULAR governance structures to which I alluded earlier. But also an opportunity for me to thank Annamaria for the incredible support that she's offered to me in my presidency in these last 2 years. Thank you so much. But I'm really looking forward now to seeing the strides that EULAR will make in the future under her leadership and guidance, especially in the EULAR School of Rheumatology. So please join me in welcoming Annamaria.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much for your very kind words. Well, dear people with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases, health professionals in rheumatology, colleagues, rheumatologists, and all rheumatology community. This is the second EULAR Virtual Congress in a row in 74 years of EULAR history. And this shows the great flexibility of the EULAR rheumatology community and its high capacity to rapidly adapt to life, facing the new key challenges. EULAR is always ready to develop new initiatives and strategies to look at the future in the most innovative manner and to work in new contexts with the persistent and fundamental aim of combating the rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases and unconditionally caring for those afflicted. The heart of EULAR is indeed our family. The EULAR family is a fantastic team of people working all together on an incredible number of projects and activities. And with its family, EULAR has adopted a policy of inclusion. And by a complete renovation of its governance, there are now individuals who can become members of EULAR and who can also be members of any of its numerous committees. Any person in the rheumatology community who is willing to participate in our EULAR family can be involved in its numerous initiatives, with the most appropriate person being in the right positions due to their unique skills and perspectives, and independently of their gender, age, and geographic origin. And EULAR has also approached the important concept of gender equality and the relevance of having the right people in those roles and positions that correspond to their expertise and aptitudes. Based on the continuous innovations and technological advances of modern times, EULAR has rapidly adapted to the quick developing scene by producing cutting-edge education and offering all its products in a new online interactive structure that follows the most modern educational models. EULAR has always invested many energies in strengthening and consolidating rheumatology, and in the future it will equally proceed to support innovative horizons aimed at optimizing the care of people with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases. And your point of view and collaboration is very welcome to improve the EULAR activities and consolidate the EULAR prestige. Ladies and gentlemen, the rheumatology community enjoy this extraordinary experience, the EULAR Virtual Congress 2021, which brings together the most innovative minds to illustrate the future of rheumatology. And with these thoughts, please look forward to 2022, when we will all together celebrate the 75th anniversary of EULAR. We will have great celebrations, and you are all invited to join the EULAR family next year too.
Well, up next are the rheumatologists who have served rheumatology in an outstanding way, either by scientific research, clinical science, or through their activities in EULAR, national or international organizations. Please welcome the winners of the Meritorious Service Award. It's a real pleasure for me to ask Annamaria to tell you who they are.
And thank you, Iain. And it's my pleasure to introduce the two Meritorious Award winners in 2021. And the first of them is Professor Maxime Dougados from France. He served in an excellent manner the rheumatology in many and international and national contexts. And he was also EULAR Treasurer and EULAR President. And we also have another Meritorious Award winner, who is Professor Joseph Smolen from Austria. He served rheumatology in an outstanding way with national and international prestigious roles. And in EULAR, he was treasurer, he was president, and he is currently the editor of the Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases. And now we are going to listen directly from the two Meritorious Award winners, how they shaped their activities within EULAR and in the rheumatology community.
Good evening. First of all, I would like to thank the member of the Executive Committee of EULAR to have proposed my name as the recipient of this very prestigious award. But here, I would like to come back to what I consider the rebirth of EULAR, that is the Congress in 2000 in Nice, during which we have presented for the first time the first EULAR recommendation for management of disease. And because of the success of this presentation and this publication, we have been able to propose strict procedures under the presidency of Joseph Smolen permitting to maintain a high quality of the subsequent recommendation for several diseases. And after that, and thanks to the integration within this different initiative of young people with EMEUNET, which has been created under the presidency of Plenary, health professional and patient, it has been a great opportunity for me to connect, to be in a position to collaborate with high scientific colleagues all around the world. So thanks to EULAR to continue to run this kind of initiatives, which permitted at least and will permit, in my opinion, to improve and facilitate the management of our patients in daily practice. Thank you.
Mr. President, colleagues, it is a true pleasure to see how EULAR has evolved over the past 20 years, how the sparkle has been expanding, how the organization is blooming. We now have an annual EULAR Congress, a EULAR journal, EULAR advocacy in Brussels, WHO and beyond, the Young Rheumatologist Network, EMEUNET, the EULAR School of Rheumatology, FOREUM as an arm inspiring collaborative research within Europe, a EULAR Virtual Research Center, and much more. A true pan-European network, and with its intensive international collaborations, a true global network and player. It has been wonderful to be part of this network over the years and to serve EULAR and our field over so many years. And it has been and continues to be extremely rewarding to see so many dedicated, outstanding personalities leading this organization in so many functions to the past and into the future, into a prosperous and continuously successful future, hopefully. Many thanks for bestowing me with EULAR's most prestigious award, and good luck to this terrific organization, to rheumatology, and to all of you. Thank you so much.
As a mark of distinction, our next awards go to the EULAR Honorary members who have rendered outstanding service in accomplishing the objectives of EULAR. Up first, for her remarkable service of health professionals across EULAR, Rika Helen Mo.
Hi. Health professionals in rheumatology are clinicians and researchers who make important contributions to reducing the burden of living with RMBs every day. And we have never had more brilliant health professionals involved in our subcommittees, projects, recommendations and educational activities than we do right now. What a fantastic team. Thank you so much.
And turning next to someone who has been a tour de force in the life of PARE, Dieter Wieck.
Many thanks for this award. In these past 7 years I've been involved in PARE as chair and vice president. The PARE team, consisting of dedicated volunteers and staff, has really professionalized the offerings for patients and patient organizations. The pandemic proved that we were able to create new digital formats to remain in contact with our members and hopefully support them. Thanks to EULAR's fantastic staff and the support PARE and I also personally received from EULAR's 2 other pillars, clinicians and health professionals.
And finally, and with special thanks for his wonderful efforts on behalf of EULAR over so many years, and perhaps on a personal note, as my friend and colleague, it's been a real honor to serve him as his president-elect and to have his collegial advice and sagacity as past president during my own presidency. A truly worthy recipient, Hans Bielsma.
A warm thank you to EULAR, to all the people I worked with at the office and in many, many different countries, in many different committees. It was a real pleasure to be part of EULAR. In the last 20 years, I've been happy to work inside EULAR in the field of education, in the field of governance, research, quality of care and advocacy. And we were able to manage to get some steps further in the fight against rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases. It brought a lot of friendship, a lot of pleasure and a lot of advances. So if you are able to join EULAR in some way, please do so. It's worth the effort.
Well, thanks to our honorary members for sharing their esteemed thoughts with us. Well, let me turn now to the Edgar Stene Prize, which is awarded to the person with a rheumatic or musculoskeletal disease submitting the best essay describing their individual experience of living with their condition. And this year, the 2021 EULAR Edgar Stene Prize topic was how digital solutions benefit my life as a person with an RMD. Well, huge congratulations to Stine Bjork Brondon Jefferson from Denmark on her remarkable essay entitled On an Equal Footing, addressing how the COVID pandemic actually benefited her experience in everyday tasks as they became digitized and more accessible to her as a person with an RMD. It's a remarkable read. I recommend it to you. And receiving the award on her behalf is the Danish Rheumatism Association, now sharing a few remarks.
Hi, my name is Connie Seeler from the Danish Rheumatism Association. The theme of this year's Edgar Stene Prize was how digital solution benefits my life as a person with an RMD. And this year's winner, Stine Brøndum Jeffersen, is from Denmark. Stine is right now fighting a severe rheumatic flare, and though she would have loved to address you personally, it was simply not possible for her. But she would like to tell you that she's very excited about having won the prize, as the topic was so close to her heart. In the Danish Rheumatism Association, we are very proud that Stine has won the prize. The Edgar Stene Prize is such a lovely project for people with RMDs to express their inner feelings and inspire others. Do read Stine's essay. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all of our winners, to our physicians, doctors, health professionals, and patients and their extraordinary contribution to rheumatology. Well, supported by EULAR, the FOREUM, Foundation for Research in Rheumatology, promotes health in individuals with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases through effective research across Europe. We would like to recognize the generous contribution of platinum donors who support the foundation. UCB, AbbVie, Pfizer, and Novartis. Thank you so much for your contribution to making a difference for people with rheumatic and musculoskeletal disease. Well, by now, I think you've got the idea that these are incredibly exciting times for us here in EULAR. You also, I hope, are now firmly familiar with the notion of the EULAR family. And we thought it would be interesting to hear from other members of the family, particularly to try and understand what the impact and, more importantly, the future is going to look like with our new statutes and governance in place. And of course, I'm going to start with the most important people of all. I'm going to turn to you, Elsa, and ask you to give us your impressions and those of PARE as to this new EULAR structure that we have in place.
Thank you, Iain. I believe this new EULAR structure has come in the right time to help us change and build this alliance and this big family that we are really now. I think it helped to integrate all the PARE activities and all the EULAR communities into this big family, bringing the patient's voice particularly across all the EULAR work as it was even before, but now in a more structured way. So I think it is brilliant. And I think we have a lot of challenges for this new way of working, but I'm sure that we will be able to deliver the best voice ever. So thank you.
Wouldn't life be boring without challenges, Elsa? But I can think of few organizations other than PARE who are better placed to deal with those challenges. So thank you for that very positive reflection. Ricardo, I'd like to come to you now, and you're one of our leading health professionals. You lead our health professionals in the EULAR family. Perhaps you could share your impressions.
Yeah. Hi, Iain. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. Developing this new EULAR statutes was indeed a challenge, but every change is. But it created significant opportunities. And I can highlight mainly three. The first was the discussion we had between the committee leaderships, which was an excellent opportunity to learn how each other was organized. A second, it facilitated us to create a third subcommittee, the knowledge transfer, which builds and communicates with our existing educational and scientific subcommittees. And third, an essential one, it created the opportunity to have a global HPR assembly to unite all HPR members active in any way in EULAR, such as the committee members, presidents of the national associations, leaders of study groups, etc., etc. And all these changes will promote, we truly believe, a better connection between all areas, the scientific developments, the educational activities, and implementation of evidence in a faster way in clinical practice. We are therefore extremely happy and looking forward to the future.
You bring that word alliance back into the conversation, don't you? This idea of connectivity, which is really at the core of everything that we do in EULAR. And of course, we've enjoyed partnerships and connections over many years with our pediatric colleagues. And I'd like to turn to you now, Angelo, to tell us a little bit about the view from the pediatric rheumatology community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Iain. I should say that the pediatric rheumatology community is extremely satisfied of its involvement in the new structure of the EULAR. There has been indeed a true revolution from the past, because we have passed from having a single representative as the chair of the Standing Committee for Pediatric Rheumatology to having one pediatric representative in each committee of the EULAR, and the entire press council, as plus some adult rheumatologists with specific interest in pediatric rheumatic diseases, which has entered in full in the new EULAR Pediatric Rheumatology Committee. And this increased interaction will strengthen the relationship between the adult and pediatric rheumatology communities, and will certainly foster the collaboration exchange of experiences and ideas in clinical care, research, and education. We have a number, we know that, of potential areas of mutual interest, which include clinical trials, research methodology, clinimetric assessments, and of foremost importance, transitional care. So I think that we have a bright future ahead of us. Thank you.
I think we have an extraordinary future ahead of us, and it'll be even brighter because of the partnership that we enjoy with you and your colleagues. So thank you for your warm endorsement of what we're doing in EULAR and will do in future with you in partnership. And then, of course, turning to the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle, adding that piece, you know, the moment when the picture is perfect. Well, let me turn to the young rheumatologists, EMEUNET and Felice. EMEUNET always have important contributions, and I'd love to hear your own views at this moment.
So thanks, Iain. Yeah, EMEUNET, the Emerging EULAR Network, was established more than 10 years ago with the aim to bring on board high-quality young generations in all EULAR activities, and we've been doing that with the support from EULAR for the last 10 years. And the recognition as a EULAR committee in January 2021 has been an important step forward for us, not just because of the formality of this recognition, because the statutes are not just a legal a legal framework, but they provide an infrastructure for us to keep growing safely as part of the EULAR family, which will be facilitated by the fact that the way we function is now similar and aligned to the other EULAR communities. And I believe this is particularly important because we feel that EULAR is not just a scientific society, but it is indeed a family, an alliance, and being here together with the other communities to open the EULAR Congress 2021 is indeed a testimony of the importance of integrating different communities.
Just as we in EULAR are hugely proud of the work that EMEUNET does all across the EULAR countries in Europe and beyond, truly a source of incredible energy for us as an organization. Well, let me draw this section of our opening ceremony to a close by finishing where we started. Elsa set out the key mission. We must address the challenges faced by people with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases. Well, I think you can recognize from this conversation that the EULAR family is absolutely perfectly positioned to take on those challenges, and more important, to beat them. Thanks very much to all of my colleagues for joining me for this very interesting discussion. It was the worst of times, it was the best of times. In alliance, we adapt, we overcome, we prevail. Together with our member organizations, partners, EULAR communities, and especially all of you, EULAR has evolved to be a driving force for education, research, advocacy, and innovation in rheumatology, and therefore the voice for people with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases in Europe. We're delighted to announce that in 2022, we will be opening membership to individual people. This will allow for a wider community to support EULAR in its objectives and contribute to advances in rheumatology. Please come and join us in our journey together. I could not be prouder of what EULAR has become. And despite the many obstacles encountered during my presidency, I can say with confidence that our EULAR is a globalized network driving innovation, ingenuity, and progression in rheumatology. It was an honor to have established the EULAR Research Center and extended our international partnerships and outreach and contributed to the new statutes that will shape the future of EULAR going forward. It's been a real honor, therefore, to have served the aims of EULAR as president for the last 2 years, and I look forward to continuing my involvement as an active part of the board going forward. EULAR is a glorious fusion of physicians, health professionals, people with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases, and of course our wonderful EULAR Secretariat, all working in alliance in pursuit of one common goal, and that is to improve the lives of people with rheumatic and musculoskeletal diseases. Enjoy the Congress.